Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Carr, for being with us. We had a good conversation in my office. This probably won't be as cordial as we were, but I'm very concerned. When Donald Trump spoke before the Congress in March, he said this: "I've stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America." It's back, he said. Now, he'd also said during the campaign to his supporters, "I am your retribution." You may remember that quote. That rang in my ears and gave me great concern. The FCC's actions the past few months make it clear just how relevant those comments were. What was once an independent, impartial agency, not always, devoted to keeping Americans connected, has become, in my view, to some degree, the speech police, another cudgel in the president's culture war. Since Trump took office, the FCC has gone after private corporations over their DEI practices. Very frankly, in my view, that may be a practice that he can impose on the federal government, but is not a practice that he can impose, nor should he impose, on the private sector, whatever the views we may hold. The agency, in my opinion, has also targeted NPR, PBS, NBC, ABC, and CBS, and other networks, apparently, who are perceived unfavorably to the president and to his policies. The First Amendment, of course, is not intended to protect the president from the press. It is intended to protect the press against the government. Nor was the FCC established to act in the president's interest, but rather in the public's interest. Now more than ever, the American people are counting on the FCC to focus on its mission under law. Something we discussed in my office, however, was when he removed FTC commissioners, he did it because, quoting, or trying to quote, that the actions of those commissioners were incompatible with the priorities of the administration. Communications technologies that fall under the FCC's purview are fundamental to everything in modern life. They shape our commerce, our education, our national security, our healthcare, and our elections. In an increasingly digital world, the FCC needs to ensure that we don't leave that behind. That means expanding, this is inconvenient, that means expanding affordable, reliable access to the internet and other crucial technology in both rural and urban areas. I represent urban and rural areas. We made a lot of progress toward closing the digital divide when the Affordable Connectivity Program, funded by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, legislation I was proud to put on the floor as Majority Leader. I heard directly from my constituents, Republicans and Democrats, and Republican officials. I live in a county with 5 Republican county commissioners. They all urged me to continue that because of the very positive impact it had on my district and in that rural county in which I live. Regrettably, my colleagues across the aisle allowed that program to expire last year, raising interest costs for the 23 million households that enrolled. I still haven't seen any plan on how we fill that void. Worse, I've heard rumors that the FCC's spectrum policy involves auctioning off or reducing bands, including the Citizens Broadband Radio Service, which could make it even harder for Americans to get connected. The FCC has a responsibility not only to help Americans access these opportunities, but also to protect them from potential perils. Every day, Americans experience robocalls and internet scam attempts that become more and more sophisticated. Their personal data falls prey to hackers and scammers. Americans need strong and savvy cops on the beat, committed to cybersecurity and privacy. In my view, that is the role of the FCC. Chairman Carr, I thank you for coming in today, as I said, but I want to be clear that I'm worried that the FCC and so many other elements of government that ought to be independent are, in the president's words, not referring to anything that I've referred to, but weaponizing government. The FCC's attacks on the press and the First Amendment are troubling. So I look forward to hearing your testimony. I will honor the chairman's gavel, but it requires a lot of time to make sure the FCC is doing what the American people expect it to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.